Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, my name is Suzanne and this is my little breeder bin. So if you saw my previous video about Jerry, the escaping worm, you'll know that I'm about to rehome him into here. Well, because worms are hermaphrodites, but I've affectionately called that little worm Jerry. So last year I took a delivery of red wigglers and I separated out 20 of the breeding adults and put them into here because my tower has a mixture, and I have some Indian blues and European night crawlers in there, and because I live next to the water table they like to escape. They're quite sensitive to vibrations and to the rising water table, and so I do lose them when they escape in here, apart from Jerry, who I have said in the previous video may not be the same adult worm, but I do find one everywhere, and so it's been nicknamed Jerry, and we're now rehoming it in here because it is an adult breeding red wiggler. Now I've had this bin in, let me zoom out for you, this big black tote. Sorry if you can hear a low level hum, that's the freezer right there. I don't get any choice about that, so I do apologise. I can't hear it when I'm editing because I have hearing issues, but that's what it is. It's a necessity when you're a gardener. So in here I don't want to disturb them too much because I'll pull a few out so that you can see them. These are my big breeding adults, just a couple of them. You can see the very distinctive yellow tail. They do have the raised clitellum on them, which is where they join each other to be able to produce the cocoons, and the environment in here for them is slightly different to the environment that I usually have or try to have throughout the rest of my bins, but I live in a really high humid area, and at the moment we're running at about between 60 and 70%, but we can run into the 90s for most of the time, and this building will pull a lot of moisture into the castings and everything else. Now what I'm about to do is take this bucket out of here. Because it's so small, it is only tiny, look, you can see with my hand. It's been in here for added protection because this building is not heated, and so what I haven't wanted is for this bucket to freeze through during the winter. We've had quite a mild winter here in Yorkshire, so now this bucket is going to come out of here. All I want to do really is give them a feed, and I do that in the centre. And you can see those speckles are from the eggshell that I put in here. And so to keep the volume up in here, I'm not giving them my pre-composted bedding because I'm actually feeding them kitchen scraps. And if I were to feed these the pre-composted bedding, it would get far too wet in here, and I don't want that. Although they like it a little more, the moisture level, in here to be greater than you would normally have. You don't want it too much because that's going to bring in potworms, which I've had an issue with, and mites, which aren't an issue as a general rule. They're part of your composting system, but if you get blooms of them, it's a sign that the acidity levels are too high. So this is from my micro shredder, and it's just cardboard, so we're going to put that in first. We'll just keep the volume of the bedding up. I have my handy dandy kitchen caddy, and we're only giving them a little bit of feed, not too much, because these are breeding worms. They're not, there's not a huge amount of them in here. I've also got my own homemade worm chow, which I keep saying I'm going to do a video on how I've made that, but I lost some footage and I wanted something to replace it. And without paying for copyrights for other people's imagery, I couldn't actually get that to get it finished. So only a little sprinkling, and then to keep the pH levels right and for the worms for their gizzard, eggshell. I put quite a bit of that in there for them, and then just give that a mix through, and cover them up. I don't like disturbing these worms too much because you never know when they're actually joined together for mating. So I don't like to disturb that too much. And then, last off, so we don't forget, here's Jerry. That's what I'm calling it anyway. And we're just going to put him in there. And he'll find his own way in there. And hopefully he'll be happy and stay in there. Because I really don't know how he survives crawling all the way around in this outbuilding and hasn't died yet. We'll put him in there. He's gone a little bit dormant because I had him in my hand for a little while. And then he's been under the light and he's not happy. So what I'm going to do is, go on, are you going under? He's like, no, I'm sulking. Okay, Jerry, you sulk, mate, and you go in there. So, I didn't do a very good job of burying him, did I? Go on, get under there and go make friends. So all I'm going to do now, I am going to take that out, and I'm using some bubble wrap. I don't want it to dry out, but I also don't want them to be in this bin too much, so I'm going to take that out. And this tote, what I actually showed previously at the beginning of winter, or part way through the winter when I prepared this is actually the grow out bin for their juveniles. So these are also getting evicted, the adult worms that are in here, because look, these are now the adults. And these are also coming of breeding age. In fact, this one's getting the raised clitellum already here. And so I want these now to go into the tower with everybody else. And as you can see, the worm castings that they've done on the surface are fantastic. And I might actually take those off, because you can see there, that is the pre-composted bedding. That is what's being sat underneath the bucket where the worms haven't got to it. So if I just put that worm down, I'll put that in my hand. That's the pre-composted bedding. There you go. That's the side-by-side comparison. Pre-composted, and then the castings on the surface. So before I destroy all of that, I'm actually going to take that off and put it into the... so I've actually got another bucket here. I'm actually going to harvest these castings off the top, and I'm going to use these for an upcoming project, because I didn't realise that these little guys were going to have done such a good job. So I can put that there, and whilst I'm at it, take worms off as they dive down. As you can see, these have really grown over the winter, and they're now ready to come out of here, because this is only a grow out bin. It's not for them to stay in permanently. I do love seeing that little yellow tail of theirs. So I'm going to leave this here, because this was only a short video, just to show you a quick update on the little breeding bin and how this grow out bin was doing, but also the rehoming of Jerry the escapee worm. So I hope you've liked just seeing this little update, and also how great these castings are. And I hope you'll come back and join me for the next update. Thank you for joining me. Hope to see you next time. Bye for now.